And obviously it was awful and traumatic. And I felt that in addition to it being devastating, it was also isolating because I could tell how scared people were to talk to me after that happened because they were so scared of saying the wrong thing. And it's like, I felt like I couldn't have a real conversation with anybody. And it's some of the shit people would say would be so like, oh, at least you got to say goodbye. And it's just like, bro, like, what do you say to people who die in car accidents? You know, like, oh, at least she wasn't like torn limb from limb in front of you and set on fire. Like you're not helping, you know?
When it comes to Kat Timpf, the Fox News contributor known for her biting wit and libertarian views, what happens when life throws a curveball that's no laughing matter? In this video, we'll explore and document Kat Timpf's life-changing experience with a perforated bowel and the ileostomy surgery that saved her life. The unexpected diagnosis. Kat Timpf's life took an unexpected turn when she was diagnosed with a life-threatening perforated bowel. At just 32 years old, the comedian and political commentator found herself facing a medical emergency that changed her life. The diagnosis came as a shock not only to Timpf, but to her fans and colleagues who knew her as the quick-witted panelist on Fox News' Gutfeld. As a rising star in political commentary and comedy, Timpf had built a reputation for her sharp humor and libertarian views. She was known for her ability to tackle complex issues with wit and insight, making her a favorite among viewers of Fox News programs. But this sudden health crisis threatened to derail everything she had worked for. A perforated bowel is a serious condition where a hole develops in the wall of the intestine, allowing its contents to leak into the abdominal cavity. This can lead to severe infection, and if left untreated, it can be fatal. For Timpf, the diagnosis meant immediate action was necessary to save her life. The gravity of the situation was not lost on her as she faced the possibility of a drastically altered future or even death. The revelation of her condition came as a surprise to many, as Timpf had always been private about her personal life. Known for her comedic takes on political and social issues, she suddenly found herself in a situation that was anything but funny. The contrast between her public persona and the private battle she was fighting was stark, highlighting the often unseen struggles that public figures endure. However, true to her nature, Timpf later used this experience as inspiration for her work and as a way to connect with others who have gone through similar ordeals. This approach to adversity, finding humor and meaning even in the darkest moments, would become a hallmark of her post-surgery career and personal philosophy. The diagnosis also forced Timpf to confront her own mortality at a relatively young age. As someone who had built a career on providing commentary on the world around her, she now had to turn that analytical eye inward, examining her own life and priorities. The life-saving surgery.
And I had it reversed at the beginning of January, and then I had complications where blood was gushing out of my ass so bad that I needed a transfusion, and this was on January 6th.
Wow.
Like that one. But
that's an insurrection.
Right, but here's the thing. It was the most pain I've ever been in, but like, that's fucking hilarious, right?
Yeah.
I forever I didn't want to talk about it though, because I don't want people to be like, oh, like, was I like, no, I'm not okay. I have this gaping wound in my stomach. I can't even see my belly button. Like, I'm not okay. Like, I'm not okay, bro. No. But every time I had to watch like different politicians cry on TV I was like, I bet you my January 6th was worse than yours.
With her life hanging in the balance, Timpf underwent an ileostomy surgery. The procedure involves creating an opening in the abdominal wall and attaching the end of the small intestine to it, forming a stoma. This allows waste to be collected in an external pouch, bypassing the damaged section of the bowel and allowing it to heal. The decision to undergo such a major surgery was not taken lightly, but it was necessary to save her life. The complexity of the surgery and the potential for complications added to the stress of the situation. Timpf had to come to terms with the fact that her body would be permanently altered, and that her daily life would change significantly. For someone in the public eye, particularly in the often unforgiving world of political commentary, this presented unique challenges. She had to consider how this change would affect her career, her public image, and her personal relationships. The surgery was not only life-saving, but also life-altering. Timpf had to adapt to a new way of living, managing her stoma and dealing with the physical and emotional challenges that came with it. This included learning how to care for the stoma, adjusting her diet, and dealing with potential complications. And she had to navigate the psychological impact of such a significant change to her body image and sense of self. Despite the serious nature of the situation, Timpf approached her recovery with the same humor and candor that made her popular on television. This resilience in the face of adversity would become a defining characteristic of her post-surgery life. She later recounted in her book, You Can't Joke About That, about how her father remarked on her resilience, saying, quote, "Kat, you're only 32, but what have you not been through?" This comment sparked a realization in Timpf about the power of shared experiences and the importance of being able to talk about them openly. The surgery also forced Timpf to confront societal taboos around discussing bodily functions and medical conditions. As she recovered, she began to recognize the importance of open dialogue about these topics, not just for her own healing, but for others who might be going through similar experiences. The road to recovery.
I know for me, every tough thing I've been through, I've only felt worse and more isolated when anybody who knew I was going through that struggled to say the right thing around me.
What do I say?
Yeah, because then I feel isolated on top of everything else that I'm already going through. So I would really argue that this cultural policing of speech and of humor really is hurting people's ability to heal, but also to make connections with each other. Because every tough thing you go through, you're ultimately building a connection with everyone else who's been through it.
Timpf's recovery was not just physical, but also emotional and psychological. She was initially hesitant to discuss her condition with others, fearing they'd treat her differently. This reluctance to open up was reminiscent of how she had dealt with other difficult times in her life, such as when her mother passed away. But as she navigated her new reality, Timpf began to recognize the therapeutic power of humor. She found that laughter not only helped her cope with her own situation, but also provided a way to connect with others who had gone through similar experiences. Timpf's experience led her to question the unwritten rules of speech and sensitivity that often prevent people from discussing difficult topics openly. She came to believe that these self-imposed restrictions on speech were actually harmful, especially to those they were meant to protect. Impact on her career. The surgery and recovery process had a profound impact on Timpf's career and personal philosophy. It reinforced her libertarian views on individual freedom and self-expression, while also giving her a new appreciation for the power of vulnerability in public discourse. In her work on Gutfeld and other Fox News programs, Timpf began to incorporate her experience into her commentary, using it as a lens through which to view social and political issues. She became an advocate for free speech in comedy, arguing that intention and context are crucial when considering potentially offensive jokes. Timpf's ordeal also influenced her writing. Her book, You Can't Joke About That, became a bestseller, resonating with readers who appreciated her honest and humorous take on difficult subjects. In it, she explores how humor can be a tool for healing and connection, rather than a source of division. The experience also shaped Timpf's approach to her live comedy shows. As she toured the U.S., she found that her openness about her surgery and other personal challenges helped her connect with diverse audiences. This reinforced her belief that people have more in common than political divisions might suggest, a perspective she brings to her work as an independent voter and commentator. Now it's time to hear from you. Have you ever faced a life-threatening situation that changed your perspective on life or humor? Let us know in the comments section below.